12.5, we're going to look at multiplying and dividing rational expressions, just kind of building off the same ideas that we've been discussing in terms of simplifying rational expressions and then canceling some things out. So very similar lesson today. So if I look at part A here, it says find the product, make sure the answer is in simplest form. Okay, so the process I want us thinking is simplify first, so factor first, cancel anything out, and then multiply. So if I look at the top and the bottom here, okay, I'm not going to be able to make anything cancel, okay, because I have 3x plus 2, there's nothing to factor out there. The 5 is already in simplest form. The x and the x squared are already in simplest form, so I'm not going to be able to cancel anything out, so all I'm going to do is go ahead and multiply. Okay, so what I have is I have 15x, because I got to take this guy to both things on top, distribute, so 15x plus 10 over x squared, and x makes x to the third power. Okay, and that's the simplest form. I can't do anything more to this expression. In part B, now I can actually do some things here, okay? And don't get me wrong, you could multiply and then simplify. Multiply 2 times 5x squared, that's 10x squared, over, and then on bottom I have 3x and 10x. That would be 30x squared. And you'll notice here now the x squareds are going to cancel. The 10 and the 30 are going to simplify. 10 goes into 10 once, 10 goes into 30 3 times, so the final answer here would just be 1/3. And that would be the simplest form there. Let me go ahead and extend the page here a little bit so we can look at part C. So part C, again, however you want to do it. If you wanted to cancel first, you could do that. So for example, I could look at the 6 and the 4 and realize that 2 goes into both. 2 goes into 6 3 times. 2 goes into 4 twice. Okay, and then I could look and say, okay, I have y squared here. That y squared cancels with 2 of these, 3. Okay, so that would just be y to the first. And then I could cancel y to the third here with y to the 7th there, so those are going to cancel and leave y to the 4th on top. And then again I have y to the first over here, so really what I have right now is I have, I'm sorry, I goofed that up. So I have 3, okay, I have 3 times 3, which is 9y to the 4th on top. On bottom I have 2 times 5, which is 10, so I have 10. And then this y to the third was canceled. I'm left with y to the first there, so 10y. And then you'll notice I can still cancel. This y will take away one of those, so there's 3 on top. So the final answer would actually be 9y to the third over 10. Okay, again, so you can simplify then multiply, or you can multiply then simplify. It doesn't really matter. Certain situations it will be more beneficial to do one and then the other, but in general it won't matter. Okay, find the product, make sure the answer is in simplest form. So you'll notice here I have kind of a mantra, right? Factor, cancel, then multiply. So when you're looking at this, you can go ahead and combine the tops, okay, but I don't want you to distribute. What I want you to do is have x, and then when you look at this second term right here, I can pull a 2x out of that. So I have 2x, and then the thing that's left would be x minus 2. And then on the bottom, okay, on the bottom, you can keep this 7x squared kind of out in front by itself. That's fine. And then I got to look at trying to factor this expression here. Let's see if I can get that. There we go. So when I come over here, remember what I'm thinking. I'm thinking two numbers that multiply to get negative 40 and add to get negative 6. Okay, 40 and 6. So it's going to be 10 and 4. Right, so is it negative 4 and 10, or is it 4 and negative 10? Well, again, you got to add to get negative 6. So these are the two I'm going to use. And remember, we got to factor by grouping now. So we have 5x squared plus 4x minus 10x minus 8. Okay, and so the top is already broken down as much as I can. So I have x parentheses 2x parentheses x minus 2. On bottom now, right, we can group this and this. And my suggestion would be to change them all to plus and negative to help make your life easier. Alright, so now what I have 7x squared out in front still. Alright, when I look at the first set of numbers, I can pull just an x out in front, so I have x parentheses or bracket, whatever, 5x plus 4 plus, and then if I look at negative 10x and negative 8, I can pull a negative 2 out in front. And then left in the brackets would be 5x plus 4. Okay, I know I have a lot of parentheses going on there. Just try to follow along as the best you can. So then where I'm at is I'm going to run out of room here too, but I have x times 2x times x minus 2 on top. On bottom I have 7x squared, and then x minus 2, 5x plus 4. You'll notice the x minus 2's will cancel. Okay. Furthermore, you'll notice I have 1x here. That takes away 1x down here. I have another x here. That takes this thing all the way out. And so then what you're left with on top is just 2. And on bottom you have 7 times 5x plus 4. And that would be simplest form. Because again, there's nothing else that you can factor out. So again, not the easiest thing in the world, okay, but just kind of building off the ideas that we've discussed in class when it comes to simplifying rational expressions. I'm going to erase all of this so you can pause the video if you need some extra time on that. And now we're going to go ahead and move down to the second example here. Extend the page a little bit. Let's see. Alright, that's going to work. Okay, so again, you can combine the top here, but you have 3x minus 6, and then I'm looking at this expression here. Let me use a different color so we can kind of keep track of what we're doing here. So I'm looking at this expression. I know that's going to factor to x and x. Alright, so now I'm asking myself, what two numbers multiply to get positive 5 and to get positive 6? Well, it's just positive 3 and positive 2. I don't know what's going on over there, guys. I apologize. So that should be x plus 3, parentheses, x plus 2. So this here, goodness. There must be a dead spot here on the smart board or something because it's not writing. There we go. That is x plus 2. Okay. And then on bottom, I'm going to look to factor this guy first. Alright, so when I look at that, I have parentheses x, x. Two numbers that multiply at negative 12, add to get positive 4. That's going to be positive 6 and negative 2. And then I finally look at this expression. I can pull a 4 out of that. So I have a 4. You can put it in parentheses if you want. And then when I pull a 4 out, I have x plus 1. Okay, so let me kind of rewrite all of this a little bit bigger so we can see what's going on. So on top, I have 3x minus 6. As a matter of fact, now that I do that, we can factor a 3 out of that. I didn't realize that at first, right? So let's go ahead and do that. So I have a 3, parentheses, x minus 2, parentheses, x plus 3, parentheses, x plus 2, and then on bottom, I have x plus 6, x minus 2, 4, and x plus 1. Okay, and so now when I look to simplify here, cancel out whatever you can. X minus 2's cancel, and unfortunately it looks like that's all that's going to cancel for us. So on top, what I'm left with is 3 x plus 3 in parentheses, x plus 2, and on bottom I have 4 x plus 6, x plus 1. Okay, and again, that's simplest form because all of those expressions are broken down as far as they can. Part C. Again, I'm just going to kind of motor through this guy. So when I look at the first term here, and you can keep it however you want, but I'm going to pull 3 out. I have x plus 2. Then I'm looking at this term. I have x. Two numbers that multiply get negative 12, add to get negative 1. That's negative 4, positive 3. And then on bottom, I'm going to pull a 3 out of this whole thing. So I have 3, parentheses, x squared plus 6x plus 9. I look at this second term here. I can factor that to x plus 2 times x minus 2, difference of squares. Okay. I can cancel some things right away. I can cancel the x plus 2 and the x plus 2, the 3 and the 3. So I cleaned it up a little bit already. So I have x minus 4, x plus 3. Now on bottom, though, I can still factor this expression here a little bit more. So I have x, and I already have the x minus 2 still on the bottom. Okay, I'm just carrying that over. So two numbers that multiply to get 9, add to get 6. That's just 3 and 3. So this x plus 3 and that x plus 3 will cancel. And so your final answer should look like this. X minus 4 on top, x plus 3 times x minus 2 on bottom. Okay. So for part D, you have to recognize this is actually over 1, and then you just multiply straight across. Okay, so on top you have 5x, parentheses x plus 2, and on bottom you have x and x. Two numbers that multiply get 12, add to get 8. That's positive 6 and positive 2. Those will cancel, and so your final answer is 5x over x plus 6. Again, for the remainder of this lesson, I'm probably going to go pretty quickly. You just got to pause the video, rewind, rewatch as needed. Those two I'm going to let you guys do on your own, E and F. We'll go over those in class. That'll be a good starting conversation point for our class session tomorrow. Alright, so now we get to division. Okay, this is really going to be the same thing we were just doing. Understand that dividing by a fraction is the same thing as multiplying by its reciprocal. Okay, so in other words, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to rewrite this as x squared plus 5x minus 24 over x squared plus 9x. I apologize, I have no idea what's going on here with the smartboard. So on the bottom I have x squared plus 9x plus 8. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply it by the reciprocal. In other words, just flip-flop. Flip-flop these two. Okay, so 6x minus 18 over x squared minus 9. And now you'd attack it the same way that we've been. Okay, so I look at the top. I have x and x. Right now I'm looking at this expression. Two numbers that multiply get negative 24, add to get positive 5. Let's see here. 12 and 2, not going to work. 3 and 8, right? So 3 and 8, and since it's positive 5, the 8's got to be the positive, so 8 and negative 3. And then out of this term here, I can pull a 6 out, so I have a 6 out in front, and I have an x minus 3 left. And then on bottom, now I'm looking at this expression. I have x, two numbers that multiply to get 8, add to get 9. That's 8 and 1. And then I have x plus 3, x minus 3. Remember, this right here is the difference of squares. The square root of x squared is x. The square root of negative 9, or the square root of 9 is 3. And so that's how I was able to factor that so quickly. So x plus 8, x minus 3, x minus 3. And so what I'm left with on top is 6, parentheses, x minus 3. And on bottom I have x plus 1 times x plus 3. And we're done. Alright, I'll let you guys do part B there. I'll do one more example. I'm running out of room here, so I'll do part C. Okay, so the important thing to recognize is that this x plus 1 is over 1. So now when I rewrite this, I have x squared plus 2x plus 1 over 3x plus 1. And now when I change this to multiply, these two just flip-flop. So it's 1 over x plus 1. And so what I have here on top, I'm going to break this term down now. So I have x and x, two numbers that multiply to get 1, add to get 2, 1 and 1. So then I have 3x plus 1 on bottom times x plus 1. Those cancel, and so you'll see all I'm left with is x plus 1 over 3x plus 1. Okay, so again, multiplying and dividing are all really the same. You just change all of your division problems to multiplication. So as always, any questions you have, bring them to class. We'll do some of the examples that we didn't do in the notes here to start tomorrow, and we'll go from there.